the winner of the Rackspace Develop It, Wear It, Win It contest. Somebody's taking home $10,000. Find out who.
What's your feedback for what you've seen today?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably 3 categories. There's high concept, and here's my PowerPoint and idea. Here's a hack that is interesting, not necessarily a use case yet. And then there were a few that were like, here's an actual use case, and it's actually sort of working.
Yeah. Like the golf.
Unfortunately, more of the high concept, here's my idea, and not so much of the actual working. The Imaginary Computers demo was actually showing a game that was using Google Glass and had real integration with position and shooting. And I thought the NZN Labs, although it wasn't maybe all the way to product, I could see where they were going. That looked pretty cool. So those are my 2 favorites.
They were my 2 favorites too.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite was Imaginary Computers. I also liked NZN, also Crowd Optic and Session Tech, the second last one.
Yeah.
So what I liked about Session Tech was that the emotional reading, I think that's a huge thing, and it clearly worked. So seeing that as a demo. With Imaginary Computers, it was very similar to the last presentation, but I think he innovated on the fact that he could do a gaming control without pressing the button. And I think being able to see that really impressed me.
Yeah,
that was novel.
He did a lot of work in the last day or two to get his quality up.
Oh, right, okay.
But I thought he's doing the best thinking of what Google Glass is going to be like in the real world. And he's building a whole bunch of libraries that can be used to do things. Yosin actually has some cool trumpets that you can play. You know? So she's playing with the sensors. It's just she hasn't put it together as a company. I think you like to see things like the golfing app.
I certainly realize that it's early, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a fully functioning business yet, but it's nice to see actual use case and execution. So like the iCaddy stuff looked really interesting. I think seeing that a little further along where it actually wasn't, here's my video of the concept, but here's the actual implementation of that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. It's always fun to see how you think, because you see so many companies. We were talking off camera how many companies you're going to see just at TechCrunch Disrupt.
See if I can get to the front of the stage without talking to 20.
Thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate what you do. And
Thanks for having
startups.
us out.
You're about to start a new class, right?
We're starting our next batch, batch 7, in about a month. And we have at least 32 companies so far that we've selected. Might add a few more, but probably at least 30 companies.
Very cool. And how about you? Are you doing Startup Bus again at South by Southwest?
We're doing it in America, Europe, and we're launching in Africa.
Wow.
And Africa, yeah. And
you should talk about what is Startup Bus, because I've been on one and it's a lot of fun.
How do you get a bus from Africa to Texas?
We're still working on that. It started as a joke over alcohol. I said, let's get on a bus and launch a startup. And since then, 700 people around the world have done it. And it's become a road trip / hackathon that helps you change your view on life, I guess. And what's keeping me busy now is Startup House, which is a new co-working facility here in the city.
Cool
and
stuff.
Actually, it's cool to see Ocean present, because a big focus for us is supporting women entrepreneurs and developers, and we want to create a space that really supports women to feel comfortable to work from. So it's cool to see it there.
No, it's awesome. So I think we're decided, right? Imaginary Computers is the winner?
I think so, yeah, absolutely.
So congratulations to Sean. Sean, are you still around? You're the winner. So congratulations.
Don't spend it all in one place.
Come on up here, Sean. So congratulations. We were just talking about the things we saw here, and congrats on winning $10,000. We liked that the fact that you actually built something using the sensors that actually could be conceivably a commercial product at some point. You know, gaming is always going to be fun, and we're right next to Zynga, right? So we know that's fundable. That's a thing that I think people are going to try on this class. Is, can I play a new kind of game with this? But I think you're learning where the sensors are is pretty remarkable.
Thank you.
How much sleep did you get last night?
About 45 minutes.
Yeah, because you radically improved what you showed me from earlier in the week to today.
Right. Well, that's my day job. I'm a lead game developer, so this is what I do, and I've been doing stuff in the AR and the gyroscope world for like the last 3 years on iOS and Android. I've done various client projects for like Puma and Disney Tokyo and stuff. So yeah, this was low-hanging fruit for me. It's like when I got Glass, I was like, oh my god, I can actually build kind of this virtual reality light sort of thing, and it gave me goosebumps actually, because it feels like the future. Like I feel like when I first got my Glass, and I was just like, it's kind of cool, but then when I got the gyros working, I was like, okay, now we're getting into the future territory. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hope to see what you do in the future.
Thank you.
It's only going to get better. So thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thank you. And thanks to everybody for joining us. TechCrunch Disrupt all week long. We've been interviewing cool people like Sean, and it's been a lot of fun. So thank you for joining us. We're going to keep doing this. Rackspace is really interested in the future of wearables because they are going to generate so much data that we need to get a handle on how fast this world is coming at us, so we know how big an investment to make in these billion-dollar data centers that we're building. So thank you very much for joining us, and keep building the future.
Seeing into the future live. Rackspace's continuous coverage of TechCrunch Disrupt 2013. For seeing into the future and bringing it back sooner, Rackspace is proud to present $10,000 to Sean McCracken, an imaginary computer, this year's winner of the Develop It, Wear It, Win It contest from Rackspace. Congratulations. Rackspace Live, exclusive coverage of TechCrunch Disrupt 13, hosted by Robert Scoble, produced by Rocky Barbanica. Build the future, will help. Visit RackspaceStartups.com for more.
Welcome to News Desk on SiliconANGLE TV for Tuesday, May 14th, 2013. I'm Kristen Folletti. For the second year in a row, SiliconANGLE will be broadcasting exclusive content from Google's development conference, Google I/O, in San Francisco this week. Join us now to discuss Google's place in the tech ecosystem is Wikibon Senior Analyst Stu Miniman. Hi, Stu. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Kristen. Good to be here.
As we know, Google I/O is a developer conference. Stu, can you explain what a developer conference is and how it's different from a typical technology company user conference?
Sure, Kristen. So if you look at EMC World last year that we were at, or SAP Sapphire or ServiceNow Knowledge, what it is the vendor that makes a product and their partner ecosystem really talking to the end users that use their product. Google I/O is very different. As you said, it's a developer conference. What Google does is it builds platforms. So while most people think of Google from its search capability or from the Android phones, they've really built a whole lot of products that people develop software and integrate and work their products with. So not just Android, Chrome, they've got Google Plus, YouTube, the Google Maps, Google Ads, Google Wallet. They're doing stuff in the cloud, and of course everybody's talking about Google Glass. So all of these pieces are software products that have APIs and things to develop in. Google's got a very well-developed developer lab, and they work really close with the developer products because Google is just a software company and one of those foundational web companies today.
Explain how Google's technology spans consumer and business.
Yeah, so we all know that, of course, business users not only use Android phones and are using the search, but Google Apps really fits into a lot of companies' environments. In many ways, Google's trying to erode what Microsoft has and doing it in the cloud. So they've got their cloud platform that they've been building up and have lots of services. that business user could use from the analytics standpoint to understand what companies have, as well as all of those things that the partner ecosystem develops on top of things like Maps and Chrome, YouTube, and all the ads that are done. I mean, Google's one of the largest web advertising companies out there, which is where still the vast majority of its revenue is made today.
Stu, does Google have a play when it comes to cloud and big data?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that people look at is, how's that transition from kind of the internet and web to the cloud? And Google is right in that space. As we've been watching really closely, Amazon's AWS is the leader in cloud, and while lots of big companies like IBM and HP and EMC have competing solutions out there, it's really Google's cloud, and the Google Compute Engine (GCE) is probably the only competitor that Amazon really watches closely. Everybody probably remembers back last November when reInvent was happening, Google actually dropped their pricing, and that caused Amazon to drop their pricing twice on their cloud solutions. So Google doesn't get a lot of mention, but it is a real threat in the cloud marketplace. And it could really be argued that Google was the first big data company. MapReduce is the underlying technology that allows Google search to happen, and out of that really came what Yahoo and Hadoop built out of there. So Google is really one of the first big data companies. It is an important player in the cloud, and when Wikibon did its big data market forecast, Google had a prominent mention there, because if you look at kind of the infrastructure that Google lays out, they actually spent over $1 billion on infrastructure for really its big data solution in under a quarter. So they're really a big player, but behind the scenes in a lot of ways.
What's your take on Google's efforts in social media, like Google+?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I've been a big user of Google's ecosystem for many years. Like many, I'm lamenting the fact that Google Reader is going to go away, because it's still the way that I kind of interact with the blogs and some of the news that I get. But Google Plus. It's a platform that's probably not as exciting as Facebook or Twitter, or even getting kind of the niche market of kind of Groupon or even Pinterest. But Google Plus is one of the ways that you really need to make sure you're getting your content out there. Those in the know are aware that Google Plus has a significant impact on how Google search happens, and there are growing people using Google Plus, even though it definitely hasn't taken the world by storm. So I'd give kind of a mixed review on Google Plus. Google really looks at it as one of the other pieces of its whole ecosystem with search, integration with YouTube. Hangout is a useful tool, but it definitely hasn't knocked off any of the other social competitors out there.
We've covered Google Glass on our program, and it's clearly one of the most anticipated gadgets in recent years. What sort of impact do you see Google Glass having?
Yeah, so there's kind of two big waves that we've been talking about in the industry for the last couple of years that Google Glass is right at the center of. One is augmented reality, and the second is wearable computing. So while I love to see the memes that Google Glass is only going to be for white geeky people out there, it really is kind of pushing the limits as to where computing has gone. In many ways, Apple iPhone really transformed the way phones and turned the whole smartphone revolution on its head, and the iPad drove. Google Glass has the potential to be the game changer in wearable computing. It's a great form factor. It seems a little expensive, and the early reviews out from people who've been playing with it are gushing. If you go read Robert Scoble's analysis of having used it, I think for his first 2 months, he's like, I never want to take it off. So there's excitement on it. I would question whether or not this will really get into the mainstream, or if you're only going to have the people that have, kind of the love of the gadgets and the technology. As a parent, I, sure wouldn't want, my child or teenager, using Google Glass anytime soon. But it's very early, and Google definitely is, driving the conversation in this marketplace, and is one that everybody will be watching real closely.
Well, Stu, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Great to have you as always.
Thanks so much.
And coming up on News Desk, First, Wikibon Principal Research Contributor Jeff Kelly will join us to fill us in on what we can expect from Sapphire now. We looked